This is a Bugaboo Donkey, and today we're going to talk about what to look for if you're buying one of these used. This is my favorite two-seat stroller on the market. It's really the only luxury two-seat stroller on the market, and we've gotten a lot of use out of these in any case. But there are very many mechanisms on this and very many things that can go wrong with it. So I'm going to start with the seats. One problem that commonly occurs is these mechanisms that connect the seats or bags to the chassis itself. You want to make sure that you click them in, they click fully in, and it can be pulled off, and that when you put it on, both sides lock. And we have videos showing how to fix this when this is not the case, but certainly something to look out for when you're buying it, because in some cases parts can be broken inside, and then the videos we've made will not help you. They're more about alignment issues. As well on the seats, you want to check the safety bars, that the buttons are in order. Just take this one off. So this is the newer type. The newer type has a panel on the back side, which means that it has a stronger button. The button has a full plastic rim, but the ones that don't have a panel are the older type, and in that case the button is simply held on by two small plastic flaps on the sides, which can get damaged, as with chameleons and so on. So you just want to check that the buttons don't just fall out and so on. Other things that tend to break on the canopy, there are these clips that hold these little fabric hooks and so on for the canopy itself. The plastic can often break on these. It's not really a big deal if it's the only thing wrong with the stroller, but it's something to look out for. You can also check the ribs inside the canopy. Sometimes they break and people tape them and so on. You want to just check that they're whole. When the seats are on the chassis, you also want to check the seat regulation mechanism, and if it has two bags, you want to check this anyway, that it can lock in all of the various positions. Sometimes this is simply an alignment issue inside, and we have videos showing how to fix this, but it can also indicate that there are problems. And if the wire running down from the flap handle on the back has broken, you're going to need to buy a new frame, most likely. In addition, on the Donkey, the bottom feet part here very often crack. So you want to take off both frames and check these feet that they're entirely intact. Regarding the rest of the chassis, there are very many points at which metal and plastic bits connect, and there can be problems in all these cases, as well as several regulation mechanisms, such as this flap here. You want to check that these are relatively tight on both sides. As far as making the stroller narrower, there are three of these flaps, one on the handle, one on the back foot, and one on the front. These tend to get weak, in particular the one on the back end. And you want to make sure that these at least are capable of holding in place. This one was very good. A nice hard click as it folds into place, but very often they're a bit weak, and it needs to at least hold so that it doesn't fall down and disconnect while you're rolling the stroller, because when that happens, this part of the chassis can slide together, and it's not like it's dangerous in the moment, but it puts pressure on all the rest of the mechanisms on the stroller, and that will do damage over time. With relation to these flaps, if you open all of them up, you can also test this function of making the stroller narrower by pressing in the middle button and sliding it together. And you want to make sure that this moves rather easily. In a lot of cases, you might just need a little bit of oiling in order to make it work. But if you notice that it's really hard to put it together and make it narrower, what this can mean is that other points on the stroller, in particular these points where there's like a rivet, plastic bit and a rivet holding onto metal, these kind of weakened, and so the stroller is like weaker overall, and it's not sliding together simultaneously. Yes? As we're talking about this, I can see that on this stroller the plastic is a bit cracked here, and this is another common area on the Donkey that can have problems. There's a lot of pressure put on this connection point, and this bit can crack. You can actually replace the rivet and use glue a lot of glue inside. If you like drill this out, pull it out, use a lot of glue, maybe a little bit of tape to hold it a little bit tighter in there, and really strengthen this connection point, and then put a new rivet or a good strong screw in there. But in a lot of cases it's a lot more damage than this, and then that would be a reason not to buy the stroller. You want to check that the brakes brake and unlock properly. There is a bar that connects this side of the brake mechanism to this side, and there are rivets inside that bar inside. We have other videos talking about this, and those can also break. So if one side is not breaking, it could just be a matter of oil, but it could also be a matter of broken parts inside the brake system. You want to check that this central locking mechanism at least functions. It can be a little bit wobbly. That will happen with these over time. But you want to make sure that, like, lifting up on the handle and pressing on each side, you get resistance, because there can be problems between any two of these discs. It's a complex mechanism, more or less all plastic. So there can be problems here. You want to try folding it down and up. Make sure that that works fine. And when it's in the upright position, you want to apply a little pressure on each side and make sure that you don't hear like a clicking and feel a loss of resistance. In some cases, this can simply be that the screw underneath this panel needs to be tightened. I can see on this one that it does, but it can also mean that gear teeth on the inside of this disc have been damaged. So that would also be a reason not to buy the stroller. Moving on to the front wheels, you want to make sure that you can take them off, put them on, that it will lock in place and remain locked. Swiveling is fine, that it's not too loose inside the fork. You don't have to worry so much about the swivel mechanism between the front end and the fork. This is one of the few strollers where the stroller can be used for a while, and this won't create like a wobbly wheel sort of situation. There's a really smart mechanism in here that prevents that. But other than that, let's see. There's a screw here in the middle. Sometimes this loosens. You want to make sure it's at least still there so you can tighten it, because when the screw completely falls out, then there is a spring and some parts inside that can be lost. You want to check the seat connection struts, move them back and forth, make sure that they're not cracked. It's black plastic, so sometimes you don't see it. And that's about it with this stroller. So again, it's a great stroller. There are some things that can go wrong with it. It's important to check it out a little bit before you buy it. But I do recommend buying it if you're in the market for a 2-seat stroller. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please subscribe to our channel, as it helps us make videos in the future.